There's something deeply seductive about control. It feels safe, almost comforting, like you've finally figured out how the world works and how to bend it in your favor. You tell yourself that if you just align with the right people, follow the right structure, and believe strongly enough, you can eliminate uncertainty. And for a while, it even seems true. Everything appears organized, predictable, manageable. But what if that feeling isn't power at all? What if it's just fear, carefully disguised, dressed up as certainty, and reinforced by the people around you? Because real control is rare. It requires awareness, adaptability, and the courage to face uncomfortable truths. But the illusion of control, that's easy to build. You just need a shared belief, a system that discourages questioning, and a group of people willing to trade independence for the comfort of belonging. And once that structure is in place, it starts to feel real. Decisions seem easier. Doubts seem unnecessary. You stop asking why and start accepting what is. But here's where it gets dangerous. The illusion of control thrives on silence. It grows stronger when people choose agreement over honesty, when they suppress their instincts because challenging the system feels risky. And slowly, without realizing it, individuals begin to disconnect from their own judgment. They rely on the group, on the system, on the supposed order that has been created. Not because it's truly effective, but because it feels safer than standing alone. And that's the trade-off. You gain the comfort of structure, but you lose the clarity of independent thought. At first, nothing seems wrong. In fact, everything might even look like it's improving. The system runs smoothly. People stay in line. Outcomes appear consistent. But beneath that surface, something critical is missing. Truth. Because truth requires friction. It requires disagreement, questioning, and sometimes even conflict. Without those elements, what you have isn't stability. It's stagnation. And stagnation always leads to failure. The illusion of control convinces you that you're moving forward, when in reality, you're standing still. It tells you that everything is under control, even as small cracks begin to form. And those cracks are easy to ignore at first. A decision that doesn't feel quite right. A voice that goes unheard. A moment where doubt creeps in, but is quickly pushed aside. But cracks don't stay small, they grow. And the longer they're ignored, the more damage they do. Eventually, the system that once felt so strong begins to show signs of weakness. Not because something external attacked it, but because internally it was never as solid as it seemed. It was built on assumptions instead of understanding, on compliance instead of awareness, on fear instead of real confidence. And when that realization hits, it's uncomfortable, because it forces you to confront something you've been avoiding. You were never really in control. You were following a structure that made you feel in control. You were part of a system that reduced uncertainty just enough to keep you from questioning it. But real control, the kind that comes from clarity, from adaptability, from independent thinking, that was never part of the equation. And this is where everything shifts. Because once you see the illusion, you can't unsee it. You start to notice how often decisions were made out of fear rather than logic, how frequently silence replaced honesty, how the desire to maintain the system outweighed the need to improve it. And suddenly, what once felt powerful starts to feel fragile. That's the moment of awakening. It's not comfortable. In fact, it can feel like everything you relied on is collapsing. But it's also the first real step towards something better. Because recognizing the illusion of control is what allows you to pursue actual control. Not the kind that eliminates uncertainty, but the kind that prepares you for it. Real control doesn't come from rigid systems or blind agreement. It comes from understanding complexity and being willing to adapt. It comes from questioning assumptions, even when it's inconvenient. It comes from valuing truth over comfort, even when truth creates tension. And most importantly, it comes from taking responsibility. Because as long as you rely on an external structure to define your sense of control, you're always vulnerable to its failure. But when you develop the ability to think critically, to adapt, and to act with awareness, control becomes something internal, something real. So the illusion of control isn't just a mistake. It's a lesson. It shows you how easy it is to trade awareness for comfort, to choose certainty over truth, to follow instead of think. But it also shows you what needs to change. It forces you to rebuild your understanding from the ground up, this time with clarity instead of assumption. And that's where real power begins. At first glance, unity looks like the ultimate strength. A group moving together, thinking together, acting together. It creates an image of power that feels almost unbreakable. There's a sense of security in knowing you're not alone, that others share your vision, your beliefs, your direction. It feels efficient. It feels aligned. It feels right. But there's a hidden danger in unity that very few people recognize until it's too late. Because unity, when misunderstood, doesn't strengthen a system. It weakens it. It begins subtly. People start agreeing more often, not because they fully understand or even believe in what's being said, but because agreement keeps things smooth. It avoids tension. It preserves the appearance of harmony. And in the short term, that seems like a good thing. Meetings become quicker. Decisions feel easier. There's less conflict, less resistance, less friction. But that friction, it was never the problem. It was the protection. Friction is what tests ideas. It's what exposes flaws, challenges assumptions, and forces better thinking. Without it, ideas go untested. Weak decisions slip through. And the system, instead of becoming stronger, becomes fragile, held together not by truth, but by consensus. And consensus can be dangerous when it replaces honesty. Because when people stop expressing doubt, it doesn't mean doubt disappears. It means it goes underground. It becomes silent, unspoken, ignored. Individuals start to feel things aren't quite right, but they convince themselves that maybe they're the only ones thinking it. Maybe it's not worth speaking up. Maybe maintaining unity is more important than questioning it. And that's the moment where unity begins to decay. Not from the outside, but from within. Because real strength comes from diversity of thought, from different perspectives, challenging each other, refining each other, improving each other. But when unity turns into uniformity, that diversity disappears. Everyone starts thinking the same way, not because it's the best way, but because it's the safest way. And safety, in this context, becomes a trap. people become more concerned with fitting in than standing out, more focused on agreement than accuracy, more invested in preserving the group than improving it. And over time, this creates a system that looks stable on the surface, but is deeply unstable underneath. It's like building a structure where every weak point is covered instead of fixed. From a distance, it looks solid, but the reality is it's one failure away from collapse. And when that failure comes, it's rarely gradual. It's sudden, because all those unspoken doubts, all those ignored flaws, all those suppressed disagreements, they don't disappear. They accumulate. They build pressure. And eventually, that pressure becomes too much for the system to handle. The unity that once held everything together becomes the very reason it falls apart. Because no one challenged the flaws when they were small. No one spoke up when it mattered. No one disrupted the comfort of agreement to pursue the discomfort of truth. And by the time the cracks are visible, it's already too late. What makes this even more dangerous is how convincing false unity can be. It feels productive. It feels aligned. It feels like progress. But in reality, it's stagnation disguised as movement. It's a system that prioritizes peace over progress, agreement over accuracy, and comfort over growth. And growth requires discomfort. It requires someone to say, "This isn't working." It requires someone to ask, "Why are we doing it this way?" It requires the willingness to risk tension in order to reach truth. Without that, unity becomes a cage, a place where ideas are limited, voices are silenced, and potential is suppressed. All in the name of staying together. But staying together without evolving is not strength. It's slow failure, because the world doesn't stand still. Challenges evolve, conditions change, new problems emerge, and a system that cannot question itself cannot adapt. It becomes rigid, predictable, and ultimately vulnerable. That's why the strongest systems aren't the ones with the most agreement. They're the ones with the most honest disagreement, where people are not afraid to challenge each other, where ideas are tested, not protected, where truth matters more than comfort, and progress matters more than peace. Because real unity isn't about everyone thinking the same. It's about everyone being committed to finding what's true, even if it means conflict along the way. So when unity becomes weakness, it's not because people came together. It's because they stopped thinking independently once they did. They replaced courage with comfort, truth with agreement, strength with silence. And in doing so, they created a system that could not sustain itself. Because unity without honesty is not unity at all. It's just the illusion of strength, waiting for the moment it breaks. There's a quiet danger in believing without questioning. At first, it feels efficient. You don't have to overthink. You don't have to struggle with uncertainty. And you don't have to challenge what's already been accepted. You simply trust the system, trust the direction, and move forward. It saves time. It reduces friction. It creates a sense of clarity. But that clarity is often an illusion. Because when belief is not tested, it becomes fragile. Blind belief asks for loyalty, not understanding. It encourages you to accept conclusions without examining the reasoning behind them. And the more you do that, the more you distance yourself from your own ability to think critically. You begin to rely on others to define what's right, what's true, and what matters. Not because they are always correct, but because it feels easier than questioning them. And over time, that ease becomes dependence. The problem is, systems built on blind belief cannot correct themselves. When something goes wrong, there's no mechanism to challenge it. No one steps forward to ask hard questions. No one pauses to reevaluate. Instead, people double down. They defend the belief, even when evidence suggests it's flawed, because admitting doubt feels like betrayal. That's the cost. You don't just risk being wrong. You lose the ability to recognize when you are. And when enough people operate this way, failure becomes inevitable. Not because the idea was always wrong, but because it was never allowed to evolve. Blind belief locks a system in place. It resists change, rejects criticism, and ignores warning signs until they can no longer be ignored. By the time reality breaks through, the damage is already done. That's why questioning isn't weakness. It's protection. It's what keeps ideas alive, adaptable and real. Without it, belief becomes a trap, and the very thing that once gave direction becomes the reason everything falls apart.